Please welcome Evan Peters. Hi.
Hi, Pete. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on all of this that's been happening in your young career here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty surreal hearing you say that.
When you came, where did you come from to come to LA, to come to Hollywood?
St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, from
Originally.
Missouri.
Yeah.
And you just came out here and, like so many say, I'm going to get into the movies, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty out there thing to do at 15.
At 15?
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, quite honestly.
What motivates you at 15 to do that? Were you just like a natural actor and you knew it?
I had a couple things. I always loved movies and TV. They were always incredibly affecting for me and changed the way I moved and thought and looked at the world. And I would be obsessed with these characters. And so I really love movies and TV. And I wanted to see what it would be like to be inside of them and kind of experience what that would be like. So that was a huge motivator for me, and I also at 15 really wanted to meet the Olsen twins. I thought, okay, that'll be then I'll know I've made it and it'll be great. So yeah.
Did you meet them?
I did end up meeting Ashley at one point.
Cool.
And she was great, and it was a very, very surreal experience.
I'll bet it was.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you get an agent, or how did that work? Or
I did. I was at a so we were in St. Louis, Missouri, and then my dad got a job in Michigan, so we moved to Michigan for a year in the summer of 2001, and then I got involved in the Flint Youth Theater and a local agency there, and just started acting and started going to classes and learning about it. And a photographer there saw me in this acting coach's class and said, "Do you want me to tape you, do a monologue for a manager out in LA?" And I said, "Yeah, definitely. That would be amazing." So I put myself on tape, and fortunately he liked it and wanted me to come out. And he said, "Do you want to come out to LA and start auditioning?" And I said, "Mom, Dad, I really want to go do that." And that was sort of the beginning of it all.
That's great. On stage, I know I read you did Oliver. You played Fagin in something?
Yes.
Yeah, I
was
asked
very
you
young
that because that ended my acting career in high school. I was a senior, and I was throwing off the chorus even in the music. And so they gave me this part of Noah Claypole, which was one scene, and then I'd sit backstage and wait for the curtain call, and that was it. So that was it for me. But I was impressed when I read you got to play the lead.
It was fun. It was the picking pockets of it all, I think, I was most excited about. It was really kind of fun to learn that.
So on these auditions, you got a job right away. I mean, in actor terms, that's like a dream. That's like the Hollywood dream in a weird way.
That was pretty surreal. That was kind of a blessing and a curse, because I got it, and it really helped my parents and me to sort of be like, okay, well, maybe there's something out here, maybe we could do this. And then I very quickly learned that I had no idea what I was doing. And it was kind of trial by fire, and it was a great experience, and everybody was amazing, and it was so cool to be on a set and be inside of the movie. So it was a really awesome experience. But yeah, I learned a lot on that one.
You sure did. I mean, and you have a hell of a resume. I mean, just on American Horror Story alone, playing all of those different characters year after year after year, that must have been fun and also great to be in a series where you get to play different characters.
Yes, I have to say I was very right. We did season 1, and it was a huge blessing, and I was so grateful, and I didn't know if there was going to be a season 2 or what they were going to do. And Ryan called me and he said, I want to do a season 2, but it's going to be like an anthology, and you're going to play a different character every year. I was like, are you kidding? Like, yes, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. And I was very excited because I think I'd you know, a lot of my favorite actors are always trying to do different things and not be pigeonholed. So it was a real opportunity to try to explore that and do that. And also, again, it was kind of trial by fire of not really knowing what I was doing at times, and sort of learning as I went along about how to craft a character and what's too much and what's too little, and kind of like figuring that out as I went along. So it was, yeah, a real adventure.
Do you have a coach, a acting teacher, or anybody that worked with you on that and helped you along?
I've had a lot of different acting coaches over the years, and I read a lot of different books, and I would say I'm sort of a smorgasbord of different techniques,
really?
And what I don't really know what it is anymore. It's sort of taken on something completely different, and so yeah, I think the more that I worked with coaches, the more I realized that there is no. I always say this, and it's so embarrassing. Please sponsor me, Reese's. I always say there's no wrong way to eat at Reese's, and I keep telling myself that because I get really hyper fixated on I'm doing it the wrong way. This isn't the way that I was taught, or I need to do it this way, or this isn't right. And then you get so convoluted that you just sort of, at the end of the day, go, you know, I don't even know what it is anymore. And sometimes when I find myself going, I don't know, that seems to be a good place to be in for some reason, because then you sort of forget everything and get in touch with your instincts and start to operate on a subconscious level or something. So it's very strange.
Do you find yourself out there in real life actually having Reese's and trying to figure out how to eat it?
Yeah.
Has it gotten
Unfortunately,
that
yeah. Yeah.
You've done a lot of commercials, so I imagine
I have.
You had to deal with that in real time with commercials that you did.
Yeah, yeah. That was fun. I remember specifically there was this Papa John's commercial, and I was like playing the guitar, and it was so fun, and it was so intense. I think I was like, well, this isn't a very good story. Maybe I'll just stop telling it.
Oh, come on. No, you've got to continue telling the Papa John story now, because she doesn't like to edit.
No, I'm sorry. It's not a good story. It's not a good story. It's not worth it.
Okay, we're never going to get the Papa John story, but I was telling you before we started this, Mayor of Easttown was just an extraordinary show, and I'm not surprised that you all won Emmys for acting. It was really amazing.
Thanks.
And I bet that was doubly amazing to work with Kate Winslet.
Man, that was amazing. That really was amazing. That was a dream come true, and she exceeded every expectation, and really, I learned so much just being on the set with her, and that's really, I was so excited to go to work for that very reason, and again, that exceeded every expectation too. She was so in tune with all of the details that needed to be done, and with the writing, and honestly, just so compassionate towards every person on that set, and really brought an amazing energy and was an incredible leader. And I thought, wow, she's not only is she one of the best, if not the best actress, then she's also such an amazing human being and goes the extra mile to make sure everybody is comfortable and okay, and the set's operating properly and everything's amazing. So I continually think about her and try to be more like her because she's so fantastic.
Do people come up to you? I mean, that character really hit the zeitgeist for a lot of people. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to give away everything, but there's something about Colin, that character, that people just related to, you know.
I don't know. It was you know, he's a very normal guy. It was kind of nice to play a very normal guy.
Right.
You know, going through sort of normal issues, and I felt like you know, there was something interesting about working with Kate, who is so amazing at what she does,
Right.
and as you know, her character as well as a detective is amazing at what she does, and sort of operates, you know, by the seam of her pants and like in this gray area and very intuitively. Yeah. And I was sort of coming into that role in that series very like, you know, black and white, like it has to be done this way, it's got to be this, and I'm very like by the book and trying to get it all right and perfect. I mean, I'm working with Kate Winslet, I can't mess this up, you know, like I'm like freaking out. And it very much lent itself to the character, I think, in that he was trying to be the best detective he possibly could. Yeah. And at the end of the day, looked up to Mare and Kate, and I felt like it was a real surreal experience because I got to learn from the actress, and Zabel got to learn from the detective, and it became this admiration, which sort of turned into, you know, an affection, and wanting a little bit more than that. And then tragically, you know, he's, well, spoiler alert, but he's taken, you know, very quickly and
just
suddenly.
out of the series, unexpectedly.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's the way it can happen sometimes, and it felt very real and tragic, and you know, it's sort of senseless, and there's no real rhyme or reason to it, so it felt. Yeah, just sort of tragic.
And there are things that you as an actor, having read the script before you're doing this, know that's going to happen to your character. Yeah. You have to be careful, you know, when, isn't that somewhat of a challenge when you're doing roles like that?
Yeah, it is. That was one thing that was kind of, I don't want to say fun, but it was something to think about as we were crafting the character. Originally, the character was very much a hot shot. You know, like kind of like playing pool really well and doing trick shots, and like it's kind of slick and, you know, by the book, but very confident. And I thought, I don't know, you know, like first of all, I'm not really feeling that, and then second of all, I think that it sort of lends itself to a guy who changes. You know, he's at the beginning this one thing, and then he learns from Mare and becomes really affected by her, and then grows as a detective and a person and can stand up to his mom, and then just when he's about to get going, you know, then he's taken. And I think it makes it more effective. I think it makes it more tragic and sadder that way, as opposed to, you know, seeing this guy who sort of had it all together in the beginning. So yeah, it was an interesting thing. It's working backwards from that was very, very helpful.
So you've worked with Ryan Murphy a lot. You also were in Pose, which is a great show, and different things. And then he comes to you and wants you to play Jeffrey Dahmer, and that is an iconic name that the minute you hear it, people have an opinion. But it's not the first time you played a serial killer.
No.
You actually have played a serial killer before.
Yes, there were a few in season 7. I had to do some research on. I think Mr. March was a serial killer. You know, it's to me it was going to be very, very different because the tone of it was different, and the message of the piece was very different.
Way different. Well, this is about justice. This is about, when you hear the Jeffrey Dahmer story, it's the story also of a lot of people unheard, left behind.
Yeah. Any
way you want to do it. And you're also a producer on this project too, so it's important that message gets across, that this isn't just about the heinous things that he did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the main reason that I signed on to do it. I read it and I was shocked and my jaw dropped, and it was sort of in stunned disbelief really the whole time that I was reading it and shooting it, and really hung on to that feeling to try to just show what a tragedy it was that the system failed on multiple occasions to stop this man because of prejudice. And I felt like I had sort of sworn off playing darker characters and bad guys, but because of that I thought, okay, all right, now this will be the last one, and I'll give everything I got to this one and do the best job I possibly can, and I believe in the series, and yeah, but it really was a tonally. I told Ryan in the beginning, I said, you know, we have to be very careful about not going into a horror story type situation. Like I hope this can be something that's almost hyper realistic and very still, and our editing department was so incredible on this. I was blown away by what they could do and what they did, and just the methodical sort of hypnotic pacing of it and letting things play out in real time, I felt was just lent itself to the gravity of what the piece was, and I was really excited to be a part of that.
You had to do a lot of, you mentioned research on your other things when you played a serial killer, but in him, there's a lot of footage of him and things like that. And so did you really, I'm going to find out your acting process now that you don't know what it is. But so what's your process in going through all of that, saying, am I going to imitate him? Am I not going to imitate him? Am I going to be exactly what he was? Or what do you do?
Yeah, that was tough. It was really just taking in as much as I possibly could, and I had about 4 months to prep for this. So I thought, all right, I'm gonna. I watched the Dateline interview with Stone Phillips before I'd even signed on, and after I watched it, I thought, okay, I got to start working on this now.
Yeah.
You know, even before I did it, and that's basically what I did. I watched a lot of him and read as many books and articles, timelines, confessions, FBI files, all that, and watch as much as I could of the real Jeffrey Dahmer, and I tried to listen to him, and I worked with a dialect coach, and then created this 45-minute audio composite I'd listen to every day to try to get in the mindset and hear the accent and figure out what was going on.
The physicality of him. He's kind of a unique guy.
Yes, he is. He moves differently. He's got a very straight back, and he doesn't move his arms when he walks. And the way that he talks, he's very docile and seemingly very normal, but can spaz out and do. He's just a very odd guy, and I think it was a combo of trying to, you don't want to completely imitate him, because then it just becomes that, so it was difficult to somehow bring myself into it and figure out what the different levels of that were, and again, I think it was really just going back to the text and the scripts, which were beautifully written, and the scenes, which were very complicated, but knew what they wanted from the actors. So I felt like that was a real guiding light, to sort of take all of the research and characterization and physicality and everything and sort of sift it into what was going to be needed on the day, and then work on that so that all of that stuff was second nature. I think that was really how I operated on it.
Niecy Nash has gone on any show you want to mention and said, when I met him, he was not nice and all this stuff. And, and then I found out it was his nice process, that you stayed in character. That's what she says. Did you stay in character the entire time?
I always laugh at that, because I always find it's like, you're confronted by everything. Jeffrey Dahmer doesn't know that he was just shy of the mark,
right?
Or is it his close-up? You're confronted on all stages that you are shooting something, and it is a project that there are 100 other people working together on. So I think for me, what it was is that Niecy is hilarious and amazing and a lovely, beautiful person, and is so warm. And she was like, "Hi, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm good, and because I was nervous about all of our scenes are in contention.
Right.
And I was nervous because I was like, oh man, if I start really talking to her and liking her, then it's going to be, 10 times more difficult to play this. So it was good morning, how are you? Okay, cool. And then we'd rehearse, and then I'd go off and finish getting ready, and we'd shoot it. But now that we're doing press and we're talking and getting to know each other, it's been amazing that we can actually, bond and
which is good.
Yeah.
Little bonus out of that you got a new friend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It's an extraordinary performance, and you're getting a lot of acclaim and nominations. And what does that mean to you? I mean, you won the Emmy, for Mayor. I bet you weren't expecting it when you went into that role and things. What is that like to get that kind of attention?
It's incredibly surreal. I have to say, it really is. It's a you know, it's really, to me, it's about, I don't know, it's just always amazing to be recognized by your peers. It feels really great. It's not, you know, there's many projects and things that I've been on, and it's really about the work and dedicating yourself and finding happiness and peace within that. And then if you get lucky enough, like, because you just never know,
Right.
you know, you have no idea. But if you get lucky enough that people see it and recognize it, and you get something like that, it really is. It's a dream come true, and it's amazing. So it's really an honor, truly, and surreal again.
So
surreal.
What's next? A lot of people say, I want to be in a Marvel movie, but you've already been in a Marvel movie. So
I'd be in another Marvel movie. Yeah, I think for me, I think this really, you know, Dahmer was really the last sort of dark character that I'm going to play for an extended period of time. So it was sort of a send off to that, and that time of working hard on things like that. And now I'm going to try to pivot.
Rom-com or what?
Well, yeah, or anything in the light, you know.
Yeah.
You know, just sort of staying out of the darkness for a while.
It's good.
Yeah.
We need light now. You know, it's.
Yes.
I think entertainment can be a healing thing, and Hollywood doesn't do a lot of comedy anymore or things like that. So you know.
Yeah, it'd be really fun to do something gonzo, you know. I don't know.
Meantime, you did this on Netflix, and the whole world has seen you play Jeffrey Dahmer, and it's extraordinary. Best of luck going forward, Evan,
Thanks,
and
Pete.
thanks for doing the Actor's Side.
Of course, thank you.